Европска Словенија полека но сигурно фаќа силно економско темпо по кризата што сериозно ја стресе во 2008-та. Економијата се враќа на старите патеки на раст, а надлежните овде во Љубљана повеќе се концентрираат на санирање на последиците. Голема поддршка за тоа имаат од европските социјални фондови. За стартап бизниси, преквалификација на работници од сите струки и други социјални намени, Словенија од 2007 до 2013 добила 755 милиони евра од европските социјални фондови. За поправање на социјалната слика од 2014 до 2020 и се ставени на располагање уште толку. Во оваа епизода од ЕУ Карванот низ новите земји членки ви откриваме како младите словенци наоѓаат работа, како живеат пензионерите, зошто државното вработување е се уште поатрактивно од она во приватниот сектор. Почнуваме веднаш со прилогот на Сунчица Николовска.
Во Европа и во Словенија Европскиот социјален фонд е поддршка на пазарот на трудот. Им помага на луѓето да дојдат до подобри работни места, цели да обезбеди фер животен стандард и повеќе можности за вработување. Словенија од Социјалниот фонд на Европската унија за развој на човечките ресурси абсорбирала 756 милиони евра. Силен акцент е ставен на создавање клима за поддршка на младите, но и на повозрасните луѓе, ниско квалификуваните и долгорочно невработените лица. Со подобрување на работните вештини поголеми се и шансите за наоѓање работа. Без малку 10% од словеничкото население е невработено. Најголем дел од нив се млади луѓе по 25 годишна возраст. За зголемување на вработеноста кај младите во областа на културата за 2014 и 2015 земјата одвоила 1 милион евра, од кои 85% од парите се од Европскиот социјален фонд. Во 2012 од европските фондови се искористени 7 милиони 650 илјади евра за програмата Прв предизвик, со која младите словенци до 30 години се поттикнуваат на вработување. Со близу 7 милиони евра, во најголем дел пари од ЕУ, Словенија го реализираше проектот Над 50, кој имаше за цел да се вработат повозрасните лица кои се најмалку 6 месеци без работа. Работодавецот кој вработил возрасно лице добил 8.000 евра за 18 месеци. Социјалниот фонд на Унијата им помага и на дипломираните студенти да најдат работа. Се поттикнуваат работодавците да им возможат работно искуство и да ги искористат нивните вештини. За таа цел со околу 1 милион евра пари од европските социјални фондови се отворени центри за кариера на Љубљанскиот универзитет, кои овозможуваат студентите да се запознаат со вистинската работна средина. И во Словенија со активни мерки се стимулираат младите да формираат сопствен бизнис. Невработените лица во 2008 добиле субвенции во износ од 4500 евра. Вкупно биле потрошени над 3 милиони евра, од кои 75% од европските фондови и 25% од словенички извори. До 2020 Словенија ќе има корист од 716 милиони 900 илјади евра, особено за социјална инклузија. Околу 9 милиони евра средства од кохезиската политика на ЕУ ќе бидат наменети за вработување на младите. Се очекува до 2020 година во Словенија околу 25.000 луѓе да бидат вработени. Во тековниот програмски период околу 360 милиони евра се предвидени за инструменти за поттикнување на вработување и обука за младите и за постарите луѓе, за проекти за развој на човечките ресурси во компаниите, за меѓународната мобилност на учениците, студентите и вработените во образовниот систем треба да се искористат 150 милиони евра. Исто толку пари се предвидени за иновации и за проекти за социјално претприемништво. Повеќе од 10% од вкупниот буџет на ЕУ преку социјалните фондови е наменет за инвестирање во најважниот капитал на Унијата, луѓето. Главна цел и натаму останува зголемување на вработеноста. Над 200 милиони работници во Европа се соочуваат со нови предизвици. Од една страна старењето на жителите на старата дама, од друга страна барањата за нови знаења и вештини, прекумерна употреба на информатичката технологија во работните процеси, глобализацијата.
Европските социјални фондови се главен елемент на стратегијата на Европската унија за раст и работни места. Со обезбедување подобри вештини преку образование и обука се отвораат можности за вработување, за унапредување на кариерата или отворање сопствен бизнис.
Европските фондови помагаат да се подобри ефикасноста на правниот и административниот систем на Словенија, за да може подобро да им служи на граѓаните и да придонесе за подобра бизнис клима, а со тоа изголемување на животниот стандард и економската конкурентност. Словенија оваа европска лекција очигледно има добро научено и ја применува во пракса.
Јавниот сектор во Словенија вработува нешто помалку од 200.000 луѓе, што е 10% од вкупното население. Просечната плата на јавните службеници е повисока од просекот во приватниот сектор, поради што административното столче е попосакувана варијанта за вработување на младите словенци. 11 години по влезот на Словенија во Европската Унија, главен предизвик за надлежните останува како администрацијата да биде попрофесионална и поефикасна. За нивните планови како да дојдат до тоа, ќе разговараме со одговорните во оваа зграда зад мене, во која е сместено Министерството за јавна администрација. Во наредните минути разговараме со господинот Борис Копривникар, министер за јавна администрација на Република Словенија. Mr. Kopривникар, when we speak about public administration, I will start with a question about the numbers, having on mind that this very often huge and very important sector for the state have a lot of employees.
Well, there is a lot of jobs that public administration have to do, but in Slovenia exact numbers are that we have 31,000 employees in narrow state administration, in the ministries and the agencies. But the whole public sector, that includes the whole public services like education, health care and so on, has 158,000 employees for 2 million country.
Is it appropriate for the state with 2 million citizens, or it's a little bit too much?
When we compare to other countries, even the old European members, this is completely comparable. The differences are very small. But of course, we always seek to reduce the size of the public sector because it's burden to the economy. But on the other hand, we have to maintain a lot of activities in the public sector that also the economy, the companies and the citizens needs. And for Slovenia is also typical that there is a lot of functions inside of the public sectors that maybe in other countries are delegated outside. So by our opinion, this size is comparable and it is just okay.
Did the accession to the European family and administrative reforms strengthen the work of the public service according to the EU standards?
Well, EU does not have any specific standards for the public administration work, but they have expectations. So it does improve, but it's not the question of standards that they are putting on us. It's the question of the benchmarking. This is much more effective. So we do have to find our own ways to be more effective. And of course, it's very important that at any time we have access to other countries, we have access to good practices, we have access to dialogue processes. So this is the way how you find effective improvement of your work. Even in the pre-accessing state, there is a lot of demands that you have to fulfill if you want to be part of the European family. And these are key reforms, reforms on the justice area, healthcare area, and also the public administration work. But mostly the reform goes in the way that we have to work open, transparent, that the public data have to be publicly accessed, and these are basically reforms that you have to do if you want to be the member of the European Union.
Speaking about this, do you have a big support from the EU Commission, from the EU Union, maybe from their funds for specific projects?
Well, we have a lot of projects funded through European funds, and we find these projects very good because they are focused in the area which are important for the European Union. And those focused areas are not something that they invented in Brussels. It is something that all the EU member countries defined as a key areas for development. So these projects, a lot of them also in the area of public administration, for e-governance, for better regulation, to improve the quality of work. Those projects are very important because we have to take the responsibility, we get the money for the project, but we also have to fulfill the goals of the project if you want to get the money. That's important. This enforces you that you really do something that you promised.
Slovenia is one of the rare countries where the average salary in the public sector is still higher than in the private sector. How attractive is the administrative seat? I found this date on the internet. Maybe it's... I hope it's true.
It's probably true, even if in the last year the salaries in the public sector are stagnating and the salaries in the economy sector is growing much faster. But this is not that the salary for the same job in the public sector is higher than in the private sector. It's because the structure of the employees of the public sector by the education is higher than in the private sector. That's the reason. It's not that the salaries are higher in the public sector. From the point of view of the salary, the seat in the public administration is not so very attractive, but it is stable job. So this is attractive in these turbulent times. But the salary as it is, it's not one of the main points that you would decide to work in the public sector. Even if the average is different, but I explained why the average is different, because the education level in the public sector is quite high.
What kind of job is more attractive for you? Do you prefer to work in a public or a private sector?
Because I'm working in a public institution, exactly in Cancredon, which is Cultural Congress, I prefer public because of the difference of work and the type of the work.
Well, I'm currently at the public sector, but I have no other experience, so I can't really talk about that. What kind of work I prefer?
I think the payment is better in the private sector, though jobs are more, safe in public sector though, yeah. But I think that people, if you have a good idea, if I can say so, then it's better for you to go in the private sector, you know.
Personally, my opinion that public sector more concentrate on actually doing good things for the people, not only to make profit.
Private sector.
Why?
I don't know. We have some problems in public sector, so that's why.
It's better in private sector now?
I think for me, yes.
Ви го најавувам интервјуто со господинот Јуре Филип од компанијата Data, која им нуди консалтинг услуги на стартап бизнисите во Словенија. Mr. Philip, please tell us something more about your company, short history and about their goals.
Okay, we are more than 25 years old with 50 employees. Firstly, we comprehensive assistance to all sides of the companies. We are specialized for the company registrations, tax advising, accounting, and the labor of legislation.
If it's so easy to start up your own business, why the majority of the young people in Slovenia is more attracted to find a job in the public sector instead to start their own business?
Because we know that if you start your own business, you have to take some risk about it. But if you get the employment in public, then it's not so risky. So you have the job to the end of your working.
Are the young Slovenian business people not brave enough?
Yeah, they are brief enough, and a lot of them they are rather than be unemployed. They start with their own business, and try to their luck with Kickstarters to get the capital to make their idea come true.
Do Slovenia have good environment for startup businesses and creative ideas and opportunities for their realization?
I think yes, because we have a good position in Europe. We have nice nature, so a lot of young people have the possibility to start their business in these fields, or maybe in IT, like, let's say, maybe in development for the application for mobile devices.
Okay, speaking about the Slovenian economy, what is the role of startup businesses in the global economy, in Slovenia specific?
To start the company in Slovenia, it's quite easy. So you can open the company online if you have that skills. Otherwise, you can come to one of the eVim point. Our company is one of them, and we can help you to open the company.
What are the gains from the development of an e-government in Slovenia? Do this reform provide better electronic services for the citizens and the business client?
We have a lot of e-services in this field. As in the field of development of e-services, we are quite good even in the international level, but we have to do a lot more to encourage the wide use of e-services. But for example, when it comes for how much time do you need, for example, to register a company, before we introduced the e-processes, we needed 68 days. And at this point, you can register a company in a little more than in 2 days in average through e-services. There is a lot of e-communication. We have e-signature for the citizens, which is very important, that you can identify, and there is more and more services that are available in the electronic way, and the businesses are already doing a lot of the communication with the state only in the electronic way, and that's very important. It's fast, it's cheap, it's very transparent, and also for the state it's important that we get the electronic data, which is much easier to maintain later. The electronic communication is the way of life, and in that point European Commission is enforcing us that we introduce the e-services, and they insist that practically all public services have to be available also in the electronic way. This makes us more efficient, more fast, and more competitive. So we are more e-Slovenia, and we will get more e-European Union.
Are you satisfied of the efficiency of the public service?
I think it could be more efficient, because I think that this bureaucratic system is separated between local communities and state, and I think that this could be more efficient, just more centralized on a state sector, you know.
Well, yes and no, because some people trying their best to actually do what they're paid for, and other people are just there just to earn money. That's all, just to have a job for sure.
Nekad ja, ponekad ne.
Zašto?
Zato što ide sporo, ne ide brzo. Ako trebate građevinsku dozvolu i tako nešto, to užasno ponekad. Ali druge, ako trebate putnu ispravu, vizu, i to ide brzo. To je jako fino.
Jako je dobro i stvarno je u roku sve kako se obeća. Ako je za 5 dana, za 5 dana se dobije. Sad smo skoro radili za dete ličnu kartu i može da se doplati nešto i za 2 dana je bila gotova.
Словенечките стартап бизниси се меѓу водечките во Европа според процентот на успешност. Од почетокот на овој проект до 2014-тата за продажбата на идеи и успешни стартап бизниси инвеститорите платиле 60 милиони евра. Само во 2014-тата стартап компаниите заработиле исто толкова сума. Словенците и другите европејци, но и македонците кои имаат гениална идеја за бизнис, можат да тропнат на вратата на оваа зграда зад мене, за да аплицираат за финансиска помош која ќе им овозможи да добијат шанса да станат успешна бизнис приказна.
Во наредните минути ќе разговараме со две дами, Ладеја Година Кошир и Уршка Јеш од АБЦ Акселераторот во Љубљана. Ladies, good afternoon.
Hello.
At the beginning, tell us please something more about your company.
So now you're guests in ABC. This is Acceleration Business City in the middle of Ljubljana, actually in the BTC city. So we opened it, the first program, just at the end of March. So we are running this for 2 months. And the idea is here to help startups really to accelerate. So to define their business models, to test them on the market and to get as good investors as possible. And at the same time, we would like to connect them with the wider audience so that they become recognized not only in Europe but worldwide, because the global markets are where they should spread their ideas. And also to invite investors to recognize not only Slovenia but the region as the region worth investing in.
Financial support is base for a rapid and more intensive development of for the startup scene. Can you tell us what is your role in this process?
Well, Accelerator basically was established to help young startups that already have a product, and some of them are already on the market, to help them accelerate their business, either in the region, worldwide, everywhere. The thing is that we give them 15,000 euros of we call that pizza money, because it's not about the money that we give. So basically when they apply, they get 15,000 euros. But what is the added value that they get here? Here they have the entire mentorship network. In the ABC Accelerator, they get over 120 mentors. Plus, since Sid is one of the co-founders of the Accelerator, and they have a network over 500 mentors, we're all helping here, this group, there are groups that are here. Besides that, we have lectures from business and networking and everything. So basically the added value in this program is in the entire package that they have. They will be here 3 months in Acceleration, an active program, where they have lectures, mentors, technical support from IBM. IBM is giving the entire platform for them to use for more than 1 year, more than they're here, which actually gives the all-around amount of funds we calculated over 350,000 euros in money, if we say, apart from that 15,000. And what is the biggest added value is that here, you know, it's a mixture of everything. It's a mixture of business world. It's a mixture of startup scene. So they have contacts with investors all day long, every day. And peak will be on our demo day, 24th of June. When we will invite worldwide investors, angels, business angels, VCs, where these teams can present themselves and try to make as much as possible out of them, hopefully a big accelerate and exit on the demo day.
Do Slovenia have a good environment and for startup business and enough creative ideas and opportunities for their realization?
Yes, we can say that the environment is changing quite fast. I would say that the trends that you can recognize within Europe and around the world are coming also to our region. So the creativity was never a problem. If you are coming from creative industries, from film industry, for advertising industry, there were always great people, great artists, great creators. And now what is good is that even those who are more interested in entrepreneurship, they can develop their ideas, they can put their creativity together and make something what has value on the market. And this way they are creating new positions within this society, and they can become self-employed, what counts a lot nowadays. So definitely the answer is yes, and the potential is very high.
Our story actually started in 2012 when I was working as a housekeeper for a couple of months. And while working as a housekeeper, I soon noticed that we had a really big problem in the way that we were communicating between each other, the employees. You see, we were using papers and phone calls and mouth-to-mouth communication. So for every information that you had to give or to get, you had to call somebody, you had to write down on papers. And because of the way that we, the employees, were communicating, we were losing a lot of time, we made a lot of mistakes, and at the end of the day, our guests weren't satisfied with our service. So what we did then was we are changing the way that employees communicate so that instead of paper and mouth-to-mouth communication, we give them only one really simple to use application that they can use simply with their smartphones or tablets and communicate everything. So this is the solution that we are making.
In which phase you are now to create your idea?
We have started to develop the solution 2 years ago, and now we have already some of the biggest and best hotels in Slovenia. We are making the 11th integration. We are starting to make internationalization, so we want to go abroad. And we are also going into other industries because other industries have the same problem, the problem with communicating between employees. So we are also starting to make camps, campsites, elderly institutions and other industries that have the same pain.
I think that young people are not looking just how to earn money, but also how to make their dreams true. And they're choosing different kinds. Some of them want more security, so probably they will go to the government or to these public jobs, or they will choose even a big multinational company to establish their career in this sense. But on the other side, now there are more opportunities for those who are maybe more brave or who would like to experience a little bit more, so to become young entrepreneurs. And what is good is that all these possibilities coexist, and we cannot judge that one is better, another is worse. So it depends on what kind of person you are, what your challenges are, and the choices are here. So it's not easy, but if you know what you want and if you know what to offer, what to give as well, then the chance can come.
You have a lot of application, and who is making the selection of the projects?
Yeah, we established the accelerator in the beginning of this year. Basically, we opened it on 27th of March, and we opened the call for applications on 10th of March. And we were really surprised because only in 10 days we got 114 applications from 11 different countries. And then when we closed the applications, 30 more applications arrived. And then we had a team of mentors helping from different fields, because it was necessary that we establish the business model of the startup. How can we accelerate? Is their model, what they're doing, can be accelerated, can be sold in the world? Is it appealing to the world? So there was different sorts of specialists from different fields that are also mentors in the program that selected these 8 teams.
And what counts most is the team. We always stress that. So it's about idea, it's about the project, it's about the possibilities behind, but the people are those who you buy, actually. And even for the exit, it's very important that you trust those people that they can do their job.
Which one is your favorite?
Well, this is really a tricky question because I have to say that all these teams are amazing. The energy that is between them, their love and passion for the product that they have is really amazing. You should see it. So I just call them, they're all my kids. But if I have to say, I believe that the product that is the most possible to succeed in the wider area is our facility in Simvaro, and the one that I believe that will be really accelerated is Stylif, because you have to know the entire world shops online.
Those two have a biggest chance to become a successful business story?
A successful, long-lasting business story, but Stylif, I believe, is the one that will make something really great in the worldwide exit sense. Like, let's say, we're talking about more zeros in the number.
It was 2 years ago when I was shopping online for clothes, and I was thinking, why can't I try on those clothes? Why is there not an utility, an app that would do this? So this is why then I decided to create Stylif. And Stylif is a virtual dressing app that allows you to try on clothes in a matter of seconds. And you do it by having 2 photos, your front and your back. You put in your height and your weight, and then Stylif can calculate and create a digital model of yourself. And then you can play around and try on different looks, create outfits, share this with your friends. You know, if you want to be like, I don't know, Angelina Jolie, what she was wearing on the red carpet, you know, so be it. And you can try on her outfit. And when you like it, when you like the look, you can also buy it. So we're trying to invent a new way we shop for clothes online by making it interactive, by making it fun and engaging, and simple and fast. That's it.
Do you collaborate with any European accelerator?
Yes, this is definitely not just the idea, but this is the fact that we do. And what we see is that we are not competing against them, but that we can be very complementary. So we are the first privately owned accelerator in the region. And now we are on the radar because what we managed to do in these 3 months is really exceptional. And one thing is that we gathered all these great teams. And the other is, again, I will repeat myself, that we built this ecosystem. And just now, even people from investors from China are coming who are interested in this business model, and they would like to transform the knowledge even to Shanghai. So it is about the knowledge, it is about the capability to build the right business model, and it is about the cooperation and collaboration with all those who are already on the market.
Vladea, Urška, thank you very much for this interview.
You're more than welcome.
Дел од исклучително големите суми од европските социјални фондови се искористени за реконструкција на домовите за стари лица во Словенија. Еден од тие е овој во центарот на Љубљана. Парите од европските фондови се искористени за енергетска санација на домот, кој сместува неколку стотици пензионери.
Како ги живеете пензионерските денови? Дали имате мирен и достоинствен пензионерски живот?
Че е добро, но здрави смо, хвала Богу.
Колка ви се пензиите?
Колко съм? Пензия? 550, 545.
Дали ви стига пензијата за потребите што ги имате?
Ja, tako je s penzijo, ne? Za dom in ostane zelo malo, ne? Poleg doma, veste, ker dom je sorazmerno ni dih poceni. Ne? Jaz sem srečen, da imam toliko penzije, da lahko plačam dom in mi ostane še za kakšno garderobo, pa za kakšne čevlje nove. Ne?
Дали се живее со тие пари тука во Словенија?
Мора, ali pa štrик. Ja, to se mora, ne? Ni drugače, ne daju več.
Дали пензионерите во Словенија живеат на европско ниво?
Pa ja mogu da kažem, ako uzmemo prosek, malo ispod proseka. Malo ispod proseka. Ja mislim da kriza pogađa penzionere. Penzije se ne samo u Sloveniji, ali one se realno snižavaju. Realno se snižavaju prema troškovima i tako dalje. Baš to je grupa o kojoj trebamo sada da vodimo najviše računa, jer tu ćemo pokazati čovečansko lice. Penzioneri, oni su sagradili puno toga što imamo. Oni su trebamo da, premda sada zbog demografskih razloga stvari se bitno menjaju, ali trebamo tu da razmišljamo kako očuvati njihovo ljudsko dostojanstvo.
Европската Унија одвои повеќе од 750 милиони евра во последните години од своите социјални фондови за Словенија. Поголем дел од тие суми беа искористени за стартап бизниси, за преквалификација на работници, за да можат да најдат полесно друга работа. Колку овие пари помогна да се намали процентот на онаа ранлива категорија на луѓе која е на самиот раб, на самата граница, која секојдневно се бори со ризикот од сиромаштија.
Da, ta sredstva su puno pomogla, pogotovo ta sredstva koja su bila angažirana za politiku aktivnog zapošljavanja. U ovoj novoj perspektivi, pored toga, bit će i sredstva baš za ono što sam prije pomenuo, dezinstitucionalizaciju i za razvoj dugotrajne zaštite. Tako da, ja mislim da u ovoj perspektivi ta sredstva bit će još bolje iskorištena za pogotovo za ove grupe koje su sasvim na rubu. Znači, ljudi koji su dugotrajno nezapošljivi, ljudi koji imaju poteškoće sa mentalnim mentalnim zdravljem, stariji ljudi, deca koja imaju različite poteškoće ili odgojne ili intelektualne poteškoće, tako dalje. Tako da ja mislim da tu se otvara sad za Sloveniju jedan jako dobra avenija prema tome da ti ljudi koji su tradicionalno bili isključivani iz društva, da nađu bolji položaj.
За колкав процент од населението на 2-милионска Словенија станува збор? На колку луѓе во Словенија им се заканува сиромаштија? И дали може да се каже дека мнозинството словенци денес, 11 години по членството во Европската Унија, живеат достоинствено, европски?
To je, sad imamo tu više Evropa, tako da, ali sve u svemu, ono što sam na početku rekao, nama je uspjelo preći tranziciju bez velikih poteškoća baš i Slovenija je očuvala veoma malu razliku između najsiromašnijih i bogatih. Tako da tu i to, ja mislim da se još uvijek održava. Premda baš u posljednje vreme, zbog krize, zbog mera štednja, tu se pojavlja više poteškoća nego što je bilo prije i ja mislim da sad u ovom razdoblju ljudi lošije žive nego što su živjeli prije 2009. godine. Tako da nije to zbog ulaska, nego to je zbog krize, ali to se desilo i u Grčkoj, u još većoj razmjerima u Španjolskoj, to se događa u Italiji i u nekim drugim zemljama. Sad vidjet ćemo da li će ekonomski oporavak popraviti opet tu sliku.
Можностите што членството во Европската Унија ги става на располагање за поправање на социјалната слика се навистина големи. Словенците внимателно ги прават плановите за да го надминат предизвикот со кој се соочени повеќе од една декада по влезот во Унијата. Да создадат поефикасна јавна администрација, да ги охрабрат младите да се пробаат во бизнисот, да им овозможат на пензионерите и на граѓаните од социјално ранливите категории да живеат подостоинствено. Довидување во следната станица од ЕУ Карванот низ новите земји членки.